Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rob's video blog. So if you listened to my last video blog, you know that I am looking to purchase some rental investment properties, and I had said that a lot of the things that you'll see on YouTube and podcasts and stuff like that, stuff you'll hear on podcasts, that the concept for purchasing rental real estate, refurbishing it, and renting it out and making a decent return, the process is sound. However, most of the people that do this are, in my opinion, kind of posers. They never show you any examples of what they've done, or they make you pay for it, which is ridiculous. And a lot of their assumptions are wholly optimistic. And like I said, I know this because I ran the numbers myself. So what I wanted to talk about in this video blog is exactly the first property that I'm buying, why I'm buying it, and what the method is. So the basic method is that you go out and you look for undervalued properties that need simple sort of cosmetic modifications to bring them up to snuff. Maybe simple things, maybe it needs a new hot water heater or a roof or something like that you just pay somebody to do, and when you're done with the repairs, the house will now be worth a little bit more than what you purchased it for, and it'll be suitable for renting. Right? There's something called the BRRRR method, which is buy, renovate, refinance, and repeat. That method essentially says you purchase a property with cash, make the modifications to the property, and presumably once you make the modifications, let's say you buy a property for $100,000 and you put $20,000 in for renovations, and now the property is going to be worth $150,000 because you put $20,000 in, but renovations are worth a lot more than you pay for them. So now that your property is worth $150,000, you're then supposed to refinance that property and take out either a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan, and then you get your money back, and then you can take that money and buy another property and do the same sort of thing while renting out that first property that you purchased. In theory it works, and that might be okay for some people. Here's the problem. The first problem is that home equity lines of credit are adjustable rates. Essentially, a adjuster will come in, an appraiser, they will look at your property, say your property's worth X amount of money. I'll give you 60% of your property value for it, or 75%, or some of them you can even get 80% if you're lucky. So let's say, just for round numbers, let's say my house is worth $100,000. They'll give me 75%, $75,000 in a line of credit that I can take out and I can do whatever I want with. Of course, it's a line of credit, just like a credit card. You have to pay interest on it. There's all sorts of different exotic things that you can get with home equity lines of credit and home equity loans. Home equity line of credit is not that bad because, like I said, the rate typically varies. It's usually like a half a point or a point above whatever the prime rate is, which right now is pretty good. Is like maybe 5-6%, something like that. So it's not bad. But the problem is that rate fluctuates. So you could have it at 4% this year, and you've taken that $80,000 and you've bought another property, or you're doing something with it, and next year that 4 or 5% or 6% loan is now 7, 8, 9, 10% loan. And if you don't have the cash to then pay that off, you're going to be, it could just totally throw off the economics of your rental property. So that's not really ideal. If you think interest rates are going to be completely flat, or they're going to be headed down, you can do that. It's good for short-term cash out use, but in the long term, which is what I'm looking for, I'm looking to buy rental properties, fix them up, rent them out, and essentially hold on to them and continue to rent them and create legacy wealth for my family. Using a home equity line of credit as a way to fund that is not a good long-term strategy, in my opinion. The other thing that you can do is you can lock in your interest rate by using a home equity loan. Problem with home equity loans is you're typically short-term loans, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. You can get a 30-year home equity loan on a property. Here's the problem. They're like 2 times what your standard 30-year mortgage rate would be. So I was looking for a 30-year home equity line of credit. The average rate is like 8.75%, which if you plug that into your numbers, the amount of interest that you're paying, it just kills the economics of any sort of rental property. And so I'll show you this in my spreadsheet. So for me, the best way to really do this to minimize your downside risk by locking in a good interest rate and being able to use the least amount of money down possible is get a simple conventional loan. FHA loans are typically reserved for people who are living in the residence. They're not for investment properties. They're not for duplexes, multifamily homes, that sort of thing. So typically, conventional loan is typically a half a point above what a regular mortgage would be, an FHA mortgage would be. And then on top of it, if it is an investment property that you're going to turn around and rent, or you're looking to flip, the banks are usually going to charge you about 1% above whatever the standard 30-year FHA loan is going to be. So if I can get a loan at 4.75%, now I want an investment property loan, typically going to be about a percentage point higher than that. In addition, with an FHA loan or a loan that is your primary residence, some banks will usually let you put 20% down. Some will let you put as low as 15% down. I don't think they're doing like the 10 or 5% down thing anymore. I think after the housing bubble and the stock market crash that they had, I think they kind of did away with that. So, but typically, if it's a property that you're living in, you can put 15-20% down. For an investment property, typically they're going to require you to put 25% down. And so you do have to put a little bit more cash. They want to see a little bit more skin in the game in order to give you a loan. Now the problem is the more cash that you put in, the lower your return on your investment is going to be. So let's go over to my spreadsheet here and look, and I'll give you an example. So this is an example property that I am going to purchase relatively soon. And as you can see here, this property was actually initially listed at $130,000. And I watched it. It was listed at $150,000, and then a month later it went down to $140,000, and then the next month it went down to $130,000. And when I went to look at it, it was almost just at the next month. So I was anticipating to drop it another 10 down to $120,000, and I didn't want to pay that. So I told them, I'll give you $75,000 for it. Obviously, they're trying to get rid of it. They're dropping it $10,000 a month. And they came back and said, we'll do $85,000, but it's being sold as is. We're not going to fix anything for you, which was kind of my understanding anyway to begin with. And so I said, all right, we'll split it, and we'll go $80,000. So I'm getting this property for $80,000. I've got my here's in my spreadsheet here. I just have listed all the costs associated with this and all the revenue and the financing terms, and you'll see what the net income is and the yield on investment. So the house is $80,000. The closing costs are very high, about $9,500. This includes, title insurance, inspections, closing costs, fees, points, all that kind of stuff. And one of the issues is because the loan that I'm getting down here that you can see here, I'm putting 25% down on my loan. It's at 5.75% for 30 years. Again, 5.75%, about 1% above what the standard 30-year mortgage would be. And they're making me put 25% down. So I'm putting $60,000 down. So my monthly payments are going to be at $350. The issue with the closing cost is when you have a loan that is so small that's like under $100,000, the banks claim that they're not going to be making any money on it, or they're going to be making very little money on it, so they whack you with fees. I think just like the fees right off the top, just to write the mortgage was like $4,500, and I went to like 3 different banks, and they were all pretty much like, we could not make the loan, which realistically they were like, we're not going to make any money on this, so we're not going to make the loan. Otherwise, you kind of just have to pay us to make the loan, which is what the increased closing costs are. So just to write the loan was like $4,000, and then when you throw in, the title company and the inspections and the appraiser and all the happy horse shit that comes with all that kind of stuff, you're looking at about $9,500. This property is an old property, and it has a cesspool, which has to be converted to a septic system. So that's pretty expensive. So part of the inspections that were done, I had a septic plumbing guy come in. He did an inspection, and he said, it'll cost you between about $15,000 and $19,000. So I've put in here very generously about $30,000 in renovation. It's very possible that I may get away with the cesspool system. It does appear to be working. The state that I live in, technically you're not really supposed to transfer real estate without first putting in the proper septic system. but we'll see what happens. It's kind of enforced by the local municipality. If the local municipality comes out and says, hey, you got to put in a septic system in, I budgeted for it, I'll put it in. So that's about $15,000 to $19,000. So you can see I've left myself another $15,000 or $11,000 worth of renovations. And I've done my inspections, and there's really nothing majorly wrong with this place. The basement has a little bit of seepage from the floor. It's a little bit moist under there, but that's not a big deal. You know, fix the cracks and that sort of thing. Keep that moisture from coming in. And just little ticky-tack stuff here and there. The roof had a small leak in it, which was actually under warranty. So the seller is actually having that fixed. And I'll get into some of the modifications that I'm going to make in that. But as you can see, healthy budget for renovation, $15,000 to $19,000 for a new septic system, and then $15,000 to $11,000 for other sort of things that need to roll into that. So the total purchase price is about $120,000. And you could see here, putting 25% down. I have to put I'm taking $60,000 out, so it's $20,000 down, plus about $30,000 in renovations, $9,500 in closing costs. So I got to come up with about $60,000 in cash. I got the money, so I can do that, no problem. They had, let's go on to the rent. They said that they were renting the place for about $2,000. This is a duplex. One side is 2 beds. It's like 1 bed and 1 really small bed. And the other side is a 1 bed, 1 bath. So they said they were renting the 2 bed, 1 bath for like $1,100 or like $1,150, and they were renting the 1 bed for like $850, about $2,000. I think that's a little inflated. I've gone on a couple different websites, checked on Zillow, checked on Realtor.com, and I checked on, there's a website called bestplaces.net, and it's a phenomenal website. It gives you all sorts of information about different towns. It gives you, demographics, average income, the amount of percentage of unemployed people. But the nice part is they'll give you like average rent for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, home, apartment. They also even give you the percentage of rental vacancies in the area. So you might find a great property and then you go on bestplaces.net and look and say, yeah, this is a great property, but guess what? 15% of all the properties there are completely vacant, and of all the rentals, 20% of the rentals are vacant, which means you're gonna have a hard time getting tenants to go in there. So when I went and looked on that website, it said that the average was about $1,200 for a 2 bed, 1 bath, and about $850 for a 1 bed, 1 bath. I would say the condition of this home is maybe about average, maybe slightly below average. Hopefully when I make the updates, it'll be about average, or maybe a little above average. But to be conservative, right, I put an $1,800 in rent here. I'm shooting to get like $2,000 realistically, but let's just go with $1,800 for now. So here's my mortgage cost. Property taxes are $4,500. Insurance, I've got a mortgage on it, and if the place burns to the ground, I want to get some money back. I want to get money to pay the bank. So I've got insurance in here. Maintenance cost, I've listed yearly maintenance down here. You can see I've got lawn care for the year. There's a water filter. This has well water, so there's a water filter on there for that. Softener salt, there's a water softener on it. And again, like I said, it's got a septic system, so it's about $200. Kind of like every 18 months, but I just figured once a year we pump out the septic system for about $200. Umbrella insurance, $400. Now, here's where the people on YouTube are a bunch of posers and they don't know what they're talking about. Everyone will talk to you about LLC this, LLC that, LLC, LLC, LLC. You got to put your property in an LLC. You got to protect yourself from litigation and all this kind of stuff. Guess what? You can only put your property in an LLC if you buy it with cash and you don't have any liens on the property. If you have a mortgage on your property, there is no way on God's green earth that mortgage holder is going to let you transfer that property into an LLC. Because if you transfer it into an LLC, guess what? They can't, excuse me, the LLC protects you as an individual from people going after you and your personal assets. They will never in a million years let you transfer it to an LLC. If you do have a mortgage on your property and you do transfer it to an LLC and the bank does find out, there's a due on sale clause, which essentially says if somebody else owns the property because you've sold it or transferred it to an LLC, you now owe us all that money right now. So maybe there's some people doing, it's not illegal, but it's going to breach your mortgage contract. Maybe there are some people putting things in LLCs and have mortgages on it. Maybe these people are just paying all cash, but the reality is if you pay all cash for these properties, you are not going to get a decent return on your investment. 30-year mortgage gives you the lowest rate, gives you the longest time to pay it off, and will give you the highest yield on your investment. So You don't need to put it in an LLC. What you do is you go out and you buy an umbrella policy. Listen, I know there's a bunch of legal out there that are going to tell you an umbrella insurance policy does not cover you like an LLC. Yes, I know it doesn't, but it's about as good as you're going to get outside of being able to put it in an LLC, and it's way easier to do. It's really simple, and it's super cheap. You can get $1 million umbrella policy for like $300 to $400. Boom, right off the top. And the umbrella insurance policy pretty much covers anything that your homeowner's insurance, flood insurance, anything else that you have doesn't cover. Your umbrella policy will take care of that. So that's what that's in there for. Vacancy, I've pretty much just said, well, once a year, I'm going to have at least a month of where neither one of those units are going to be rented. That's a reasonable assumption. Towns fees, every year I have to have the homes inspected and recertified. Not quite sure if it's annually or if it's just when you turn over tenants, but it's about $100 for each unit, so I put $200 in there. So assuming an $1,800 rent, my yearly cash flow is $21,600, and my yearly expenses are about $13,000. And if we come over here, that means that my net income for the year would be about $8,800. And this gives us about a 15% yield on our investment, right? So 8,800 divided by about 60,000 is about 15%. Not bad. Some people like that. That's not too bad. Personally, 15% for me, not even close to enough. The stock market historically will give you a 10% return. The problem with the stock market is it does this. So you may be ready to retire and the stock market does this, and then you got to sit around for 5, 6, 7, 10 years before it comes back up. And so that's not really a great retirement plan, because if you can't retire when you want to retire, then you're not retiring. That's the whole point of retiring, is that people can't tell you what to do. You just do whatever you want, whenever you want. So while the stock market is probably not a bad idea sort of long term, it is very risky in that regard, just because of the volatility. What I have found is there is a website called groundfloor.us, I think. You could just Google it, Ground Floor. And essentially they give short-term loans to flippers. And they've got a whole grading scale from A all the way down to F, and they yield anywhere between 5 and 13%. If you pretty much buy, A properties, B properties, C properties, D, E, and F loans, you can get about a 10% yield. So essentially somebody will say, hey, I want to buy this property for $200,000. I'll put 25 of my own in it. I need another 100,000 to renovate it. And then I'm going to sell it for $375. I need a loan. They go to Ground Floor. Ground Floor vets them. They look at the property. They look at the person's credit. They look to see how much skin in the game they have. And then they give it a rating, A through, I think, F. And then based on how much money they're putting into the property, a person's credit, the reliability, maybe they've done business with them before, the interest rate will vary from 10%, 11%, 12%, 13%, all the way down to, I think, like 6%. And they're short-term loans, excuse me, because these people are trying to flip. So people can tolerate a 10, 11%. But the nice thing is you can throw $500. If they want $200,000, a bunch of people get together, you throw in $500 and you earn 11%, 10%. So the point is, I've used them for about 6 to 9 months so far, and it's worked out really well. I got really good returns. Everything's been paid back so far, no major issues. And I'm getting like 10, 11%. I don't have to do, to be quite frank, I don't have to do shit to get 10, 11%. So 15% yield for me, not that great. Some people think that's good. I'm happy for them. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something beefy, 25, 35, 40, and even 50% if possible. So in order to get a better yield, I've done something a little bit interesting that I think will work out very nice for me. So I am very fortunate in that I have a private group that will loan me money for this venture. If you have family members, friends, coworkers, bosses, your dentist, your doctor, your lawyer, anybody that's got money, you make a decent case for them, they will probably loan you some money to do something like this. But so let's back up a second before I get to how I'm going to make this my yield on my investment. And let's not make bones about it here. $8,800 a year is not bad. 15% yield in your investment is not bad. And I'm not going to get into it, but rental properties have passive income, which have huge tax benefits. You can depreciate the home as an asset over the course of 27 and a half years. It's massive tax write-off. So there's all sorts of wonderful tax implications as to why you would want passive income from a rental property rather than just regular income from a job. You don't have to pay Social Security taxes. You don't have to. I'm not going to get into it. It's really great. There's other people who do YouTube videos that can tell you about that. I'm not going to tell you about that right now. But my point is, $8,800, 15% yield, not too bad. What I have done is I have somebody who's going to loan me money and give me a second mortgage for another portion of the payment here. So if you watch my spreadsheet here, what I've done is essentially I've said, I don't want to put 25% down. I want to put 10% down, right? So the total cost is $119,500. I want to put $11,950 down. That's nothing. It's $12,000. Because if I only put $12,000 down, I'm paying another $240, $241 a month on this second mortgage, if you will. So my net income goes down from, let's see, what did I have before? From $8,800 down to about $6,000, right? But even though I'm making, a couple $1,000s less, I'm only putting $12,000 in, whereas the other way I was putting about $60,000 in. So now I'm only putting $12,000 in, right? And my yield on my investment is almost 50%. I'm putting $12,000 in. I'm making almost $6,000 a year. That's juicy. That's what you're looking for. And now, so this is a situation that I've been very fortunate, is that I have people who are willing to loan me money at like 4.5%. Even if you can't get 4.5%, let's say you got 8%, right? Let's say you got somebody they really want to give you 8%, right? Even if you can get it at 8%, even if you got it at 12%, right? You look at that, 12%, right? You're only going to make $3,000 because you're paying a ton of interest, but your yield goes up to 24%, right? So maybe 12% is a little exaggerated, but 8% ain't bad, right? $4,700 for one rental property. Now your yield on your investment is 40%. People would kill to get 40% investment, 40% return on their investment. That's an obscene number. You get 40% return on your investment, you're retiring real early. Okay, so I've got somebody who's going to give me something pretty nice, a sweetheart deal, 4.5%. But let's just say I was able to get it at like 5.7%, right? Your yield is still, I'm making $5,500. My yield is 46%. So that's the key. The key to getting a high yield is you want to put as little money down as humanly possible. Okay? And so actually what happened was this property, the appraiser came and I was only looking for a mortgage for $60,000. And I think when they do appraisals, they just kind of do it to like the nearest like $25,000 or something like that. So when they came to appraise it, it appraised for $100,000, right? So I could have gotten $100,000. I pretty much could have financed this entire thing through this one mortgage. So this was my first time going through this sort of thing. So I think next time what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to say to them, look, I want the full amount. If I know that I need another $30,000 in renovation and $9,500 in closing costs, I'm just going to roll it in and say, look, I want to finance 80% or 75% of $120,000. And as long as the appraisal comes back for that value, I should be able to get it for 5.75%. Maybe they bump it a little bit, 6%, because now there's a little bit more risk involved. But point is, the key is you want to put down as little money as humanly possible. Way back in the day, this was really easy to do. No money down loans and all that kind of crazy stuff. And the problem is any schmo can go out and get just put 5% down on $1 million house and then live in it and never pay their friggin' mortgage. So that's why they kind of stopped that. So that's why they make you put 25% down. But that's the key. The key here is you want to put down as little money as humanly possible. Okay? So that's the initial yield that I'm looking at here. And that's with $1,800 in rent, right? Realistically, bestplaces.net and the realtor claims that they can get $2,100. Now I'm gonna make improvements to this place too. Okay, and I'm gonna show you that in a second. Let's just say I got $2,100, right? Bam! Look at that. If I could get $2,100 in rent, my net income goes from about $6,000 to $9,000, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. How does that happen? My yield goes up to 77%. All right. The thing to keep in mind is, it doesn't matter how much I rent this place for, my mortgage, my property taxes, my insurance, my maintenance fees, my town fees, all my expenses hit a ceiling. Here are my expenses, period. It's going to be the same. Whether I rent that place for $1,000 or I rent it for $2,100, the expenses are exactly the same. So once you cover your expenses, every single dollar above that is 100% profit. It's not like selling, soda. where every can of soda that I sell, I make 10%. So if I sell another 100 cans of soda, I make 10% on that 100 those 100 cans. It's not like that. It's like if I sell 10 cans, I cover my cost. And now every can that I sell after that is pure profit. So if I sell 10 cans, I make $0. If I sell 100 cans and they're at $1 each, I make $90. So that's the beauty of this. That's why you got to find a property, and it's worth to put the renovations in, spruce the place up a little bit nicer, and try and get a little bit more rent. $100 more, $50 more a month makes a huge difference on the net income and a huge difference on your initial yield. So this type of thing, this sort of spreadsheet, I've done this with like a zillion properties. I've probably done this with probably like 35 different properties. This one worked out pretty well. Like I said, it's gonna require a bit of elbow grease. So let me actually show you the place now too. Other people don't do that. Let me show you the place here. Let's go back. Okay, so here's the place. Duplex, Unit B, Unit A. Right, this is the living room. Not bad shape. Not the nicest looking place, but it's clean. Drop down ceiling is nice and clean. It does have carpets, but the carpets were clean. They were unstained. You got older kind of deco style window here, knotty pine, but again, everything was clean, everything was not bad at all. Here's the kitchen. Kitchen's a little small, but it's standard kitchen. It's another picture of the kitchen. Again, not granite countertops, not like fancy backsplash, but cabinets were in very good shape. Sinks work, stove and oven works. Nice, clean. There's no significant damage, no problems there. Right, refrigerators in decent shape, right? So small little kitchen, not too bad. Vinyl floor on the kitchen, good shape, not peeling. Here's the one super tiny bedroom. The pictures aren't that great. They really should have had a fisheye when they took their pictures. But here's kind of wood paneling. I'm going to take these stupid things down here, but small bedroom. Here's a second bedroom. Again, drop down ceiling. Knotty pine on the floor, on the walls, carpet. It's fine. There's nothing too bad about it. Here is the living room of the second unit. Here's the kitchen in the second unit. Again, clean. I'll say these grids on the ceiling, these are dark grids. They look weird. Just paint them over. White grids to match the ceiling, no problem. Right? See? So again, cabinets, countertop, everything's fine. Everything works. Everything's clean. There's no damage. It's in decent shape. Here's the one bedroom on this unit. Small, but this one actually doesn't have the knotty. It's kind of pink, but it's smooth walls. It actually looks a lot nicer than the knotty. That's one point is that I'm debating is whether or not I should pay somebody to paint this, because it's probably going to be like $6 to $8 grand to paint this. And there's a number of different ways I could paint it. I could have them fill in all the cracks with like spackle mud and then smooth it over and then paint the whole thing and it'll look like drywall. That's a lot of work though. So I got to get quotes to see exactly how much that is, or I'll just have them whitewash it or just paint right over it and change the color. But I don't know if that's worth it. It's another like $6,000 or $7,000 to do that, but I think it'll make it look a lot nicer. It might fetch you that extra $50, $100 that you're looking for. So this is the bedroom. This is the one bathroom in the single bed. Again, nothing too fancy. In fact, I think this shower I might have to replace, but not a big deal. There's like a reasonable vanity on the backside. Toilet was fine. And then you can see here, there's steps that go to the basement, hot water heaters, furnaces. You can see it's a little moist down here. There's clutter all over the basement. I'm gonna get a dumpster, clean out the basement, wet dry vac everything, figure out where the cracks are on the floor, and then patch all the cracks and stuff like that. But nothing major. Foundation's totally fine. Roof is totally fine. Had my inspections done. The report that came back from the inspections, very minor stuff here and there. These hot water heaters work. The furnaces, I think, were only like 5 or 6 years old. This hot water heater might be a little bit older, but $500-$600 for a hot water heater, not a big deal at all. And then here's the separated utilities: apartment A, apartment B, and house. Again, it's got well water, so I think the only thing that's on here is like the well pump. So that's that. And that's the front. So that's the property that I went to look at. Like I said, they wanted $130,000 for it. I ended up getting it for $80,000. I could put a ton of money into it, refurbish a lot of things. What I think I'm going to do, and I'd like to hear your guys' feedback, is I'm going to put recessed lights in here. I'm going to take this fan out, put recessed lights, all new blinds for the windows, proper curved curtains in here. Like I said, I think I'm going to paint the walls. I mean, this really doesn't look bad. The carpet's in decent shape. This drop-down ceiling is in very good shape. If I put the recessed lights and I paint the walls like a nice color and put proper blinds and curtains up, I mean, it's going to look beautiful. I think it's really going to look beautiful. All these outlets, some of the outlet covers you'll see, this is like that cheap like rubber molding. Get rid of that. Put proper molding around. This is that these black outlets, and you'll see like the browner black outlet plates. Just change those out. Again, it's cheap. It takes me 5 minutes to pull the outlets off, put the new outlet in, put the new outlet cover on, and it looks nice because it's white. It's not brown and black, which is weird. Same thing in the kitchen. Paint the kitchen. I think what I might actually do too here is in this closet here, or this is a pantry, I might actually put a stackable washer dryer in here, so I'd have to run a hot and cold water connection there, which isn't bad because the basement's here, so pop right up through the floor, and then I could pop the exhaust vent right out the side there, so not a big deal. Again, maybe just paint the walls. I mean, the walls in here are like painted like a pale yellow. If I'm going to have the guys in there to paint, it's going to take them, I don't know, a couple hours to maybe paint the kitchen, so maybe I'll pick a nicer color to paint the kitchen. Same thing in here. Take these things down, proper blinds, paint the walls. Again, the ceiling's in decent shape. The molding's actually in decent shape. Here's that like weird black outlet and outlet covers. I don't know. Maybe they had a sale on them. I don't know. Outlets are like $1.50, and the outlet covers are 79 cents. White outlet covers look a lot nicer. Same thing in here. Paint this. Proper curtains, proper blinds. Paint the windows. Nothing major to be done. Same thing, paint the walls here. The paint's the big thing, and I'm not going to paint it. It's a lot of work to paint that. I'll just pay somebody to paint that. It's not worth it. Kitchen, same thing. This fixture here, get rid of this. I think this is actually a pretty big kitchen. I don't know if I'm going to keep the ceiling fan. I think I might just take the ceiling fan out and this fixture out and just put recessed lights through the whole kitchen just to really brighten everything up. I mean, there's good windows and there's good lights in this house, but just put the recessed lights in. I'll take this. I mean, this is like an industrial looking fluorescent thing. Since there's actually an electrical outlet, maybe I can do some track lighting, or maybe I'll do like a drop pendant right over the sink, something like that. It might look nice. These are things that, like, in my opinion, super minor, super cheap. I mean, a couple, a track light, or maybe 1, 2, 3 pendant lights, or 2 pendant lights, and some recessed lighting, like $250, $300 top to do that whole kitchen, to put all new lighting in there, and it'll look like those little things make a huge difference. Again, black outlet cover, black outlet cover, black outlet cover. It looks weird. It doesn't match. These cabinets and everything were in real good shape. They're actually like real wood. They're not laminated like crap. They're not the particle board style. So I'm going to take out these, change out like the hardware. Just put some standard metal hardware rather than this cheap like plastic stuff. Makes it look a lot nicer. Maybe even this range hood vent. I think I'm going to leave that, but even something like that, you can get them cheap, $100. You throw it in, it looks so much nicer. Maybe one that's quiet. This room's fine. I'm not going to touch this room. Maybe I'll just change it from pink to agreeable gray or some neutral color. They have a ceiling fan in here with a light. That's probably fine. I don't think I really need to do anything with that. In the bathroom, shower. I'm probably going to replace the shower. I think the shower valve in this one bathroom was busted, so I'm going to replace that. The vanity was like a very small, like 18-inch wide vanity, and they've got about 30 inches of space between the shower and the wall. You can't see it. So I'm going to take that out and put a decent-sized vanity. Again, I found a like 28-inch wide vanity with like marble top. It even comes with nice faucets. It was $125 on at Lowe's, the Lowe's by my house. Just go pick it up, pop it in. It's nothing. I got $11,000 to $15,000 to rent out of this place after I put the septic in, if I even have to put the septic in. Toilet's a good toilet. It's the elongated bowl, not the tiny bowl, the elongated bowl, so that's fine. Again, like I said, down here, I'm going to go get some of those dumpster bags from Home Depot. maybe 2 or 3 of them, and there's wood, there's just crap down there. Just rip everything out, clean it out, throw out all the junk, get the wet dry vac, suck up the water, and then find out, because I was down there, there's a couple spots where the foundation meets the floor, and it's just kind of split. There's all cracks and stuff like that, so I got to fill in all that kind of stuff and take care of that. It's not a big deal, not a big deal at all. And like some of the penetrations on the outside, this house actually has stucco and is actually concrete construction, so that's actually good. The stucco on the outside is actually in good shape. Some of the penetrations that go into the house and out of the house, vents, electrical wires, that kind of stuff, are not sealed up properly. Recaulk that stuff up, make sure it's nice and airtight. And then I think around the property there was 2 basement windows, and they were kind of like flush with the ground, and the inspector suggested putting in a window well for that. Again, window wells, like the little window well piece is like $20, and then the cover is like another $25-$30. You dig it out, throw some gravel in, put it in there, boom. Take you half an hour to do it. No big deal. Keeps your basement dry, keeps the water from coming in and damaging your investment. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. This is my first duplex. The numbers look good. Hopefully things work out. But so this is what it really looks like. Yeah. So I hope that this is valuable to you. The one thing that I would just say, if there was any advice, and I mean, I don't even know if this is going to work, so maybe you don't want to take advice, but the one thing I would just say is just make a spreadsheet and just run the numbers, period. You want to put down as little money as humanly possible. That allows you to get the highest that lets you get the highest return on your investment. And then the beauty is, right, if you look in here, right, I'm putting $12,000 down because I have secondary financing. But like I said, the house appraised for a lot more than I'm buying it for, so I could have rolled it all into here. You know, I'm getting a second mortgage from a private lender, but I didn't have to do that. I could have rolled it all into here and got $120,000 or $100,000 mortgage for this house. I could have done that. And like I said, that was a learning experience. But the beauty is, I'm only putting $12,000 down in this house. I got like $100,000 to work with here. So now, if I'm only putting $12,000 down, I can buy like 8 of these, right? Whereas if I'm putting the $60,000 down because I'm putting more money down, I can only buy like 1.5 properties. So that doesn't really do me very much good. That means I'm going to make, $12,000, $13,000, $14,000. I want a lot of these. I want as many as I could possibly manage. So that's it in a nutshell. That's the first property. We'll see how it goes. I appreciate everyone taking the time and watching. I hope this is valuable to you. I'm going to be upfront and honest with the good things, the bad things, all that kind of stuff, and I hope it works out. So thanks for listening.